Close your eyes for a moment and picture the solar system. What do you see? If you are like almost every human being educated in the last 4 centuries, you see a majestic, static sun at the center. Around it, on clean, elliptical paths, you see the planets: Earth, Mars, Jupiter. Each one a perfect little marble rolling along a pre-drawn line on a flat cosmic table. We see it in our textbooks, in our science documentaries, in the elegant brass models called orreries that decorate our museums. This image is clean. It is orderly. It is comforting in its predictability. It represents humanity's great triumph over a geocentric worldview, a symbol of our ability to find order in the chaos of the cosmos. And yet, this image, the very foundation of our cosmic address, is a profound and beautiful lie. Not a lie born of malice, but a lie of omission. A simplification so vast that it robs us of the true grandeur, the sheer dynamism, and the terrifying beauty of our actual journey through the universe. The model we were all taught is like describing a soaring eagle by showing only a single feather. It's technically correct, but it misses the entire point. It misses the flight. It misses the wind. It misses the life. Today, we are going to burn that flat, static map. We are going to erase that comforting but false image from our minds. Because we are not on a cosmic merry-go-round, endlessly returning to the same point in space every year. We are on a spaceship, a biological vessel of unimaginable complexity, tethered to a star that is itself a voyager, a thermonuclear pilgrim on an impossible journey. We are not simply orbiting. We are hurtling through the galaxy in a magnificent, spiraling dance, a helical vortex of unimaginable speed and scale. We are, in every sense of the word, riding a galactic wave. So, what does that truly mean? Let's begin by asking a simple question that unravels everything we thought we knew. Have you ever returned to the same place twice? Think about your last birthday. You might say, yes, the Earth completed another orbit, so I am back where I started. That is the illusion. On your last birthday, the Earth was at a certain position in its orbit around the Sun. But where was the Sun? The star that holds our entire world in its gravitational embrace is not a fixed anchor in the cosmic ocean. It is a bullet. It is a cannonball of fusing hydrogen and helium, and it is moving through the Milky Way galaxy at a staggering speed of approximately 450,000 miles per hour, or 720,000 kilometers per hour. Let that number sink in. It is a velocity so far beyond our human comprehension that analogies almost fail. It is fast enough to travel from Los Angeles to New York in about 20 seconds. Every single second, our entire solar system, including our unsuspecting Earth, is displaced by about 125 miles, or 200 kilometers. So, while the Earth was busy completing its familiar lap, our entire celestial racetrack was moving. The finish line from 1 year ago is now about 4 billion miles away from where we are right now. You have never been in the same place twice. Not ever. Your entire life has not been a circle, but a line, a corkscrewing, spiraling, impossibly long trajectory drawn across the fabric of space-time. This single fact shatters the clockwork model of the solar system. The planets do not orbit the sun like horses on a carousel around a central pole. That is the view you would have if you were somehow riding on the sun itself, looking outward. But from a fixed, external point of view, the reality is a breathtaking choreography. The sun blazes a trail, and the planets, including Earth, are like loyal children chasing it, spiraling around its path of travel. Imagine the sun as the nose of a cosmic bullet. As it flies forward, the Earth and other planets are like a beautiful ribbon wrapped around the bullet's trail, corkscrewing in its wake. This creates a pattern, a helical model, that looks less like a flat disk and more like a spiraling vortex or a strand of cosmic DNA. We are living inside this helix. Our entire history, every war, every discovery, every love story has unfolded as we spiral through an ocean of stars. This isn't just a minor technical correction. It's a fundamental reimagining of our reality. It changes the nature of our journey from one of repetition to one of constant, relentless forward momentum. We are not stuck in a loop. We are on an epic voyage. The question then is not where we are orbiting, but where are we going? And what is the medium we are traveling through? What is this cosmic ocean? This is where our central idea comes into play, the galactic wave. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, is not a static pinwheel of stars. It is a living, breathing, rotating entity. And its beautiful spiral arms, the very structures that give it its iconic shape, are not fixed objects like the spokes on a wheel. If they were, the galaxy would have wound itself up into a tight, featureless disk billions of years ago. Instead, astronomers believe these arms are something far more mysterious and elegant. They are density waves. Imagine a traffic jam on a highway. The jam itself, the area of high density, moves slowly backward, even as the individual cars flow through it. The spiral arms of the Milky Way are like this. They are regions of higher gravity and density, compressing gas and dust and triggering massive bursts of star formation as they sweep through the galactic disk. These arms are cosmic shockwaves, ripples of creation propagating through the stellar ocean. Our sun, with its entire planetary family in tow, is currently moving through one of these magnificent structures, the Orion Cygnus arm. We are not just moving through the galaxy. We are moving through a specific, dynamic, and life-giving neighborhood within it. We are surfing a wave of compressed space, time, and stellar dust. This wave is our context. It is our environment. It dictated the very formation of our sun and billions of other stars around us. Understanding this wave is the key to understanding the forces that have shaped our entire cosmic existence. It provides the water for our solar system ship to sail upon. Our mission in this investigation is therefore twofold. First, we must completely deconstruct the flat, static model and internalize the truth of our helical forward motion. We must learn to see our world not as a planet in a stable orbit, but as a vessel perpetually chasing its star. Second, we must explore the nature of the cosmic sea itself. We will become galactic surfers, studying the currents, the tides, and the very composition of the wave we are riding. We will examine the evidence written in the light of distant stars, in the distribution of gas and dust, and in the very physics that governs our universe. We will ask the critical questions. How do we know the sun is moving at such incredible speeds? How did we map this helical path? What is the Orion arm? And how does this density wave affect our solar system and life on Earth? What lies ahead of us on this galactic current? This is not just an astronomical exercise. This is a story about us. It is the ultimate story of migration, a journey that began 13.8 billion years ago with the birth of the universe and has carried us, unknowingly, across trillions of miles of open space. The secrets of this real movement have been hidden from us not by conspiracy, but by the sheer scale of the cosmos and the limitations of our own perspective. But now, we have the tools to see. We have the knowledge to understand. It is time to finally learn the steps to our real cosmic dance. It is time to see the wave and to understand at last what it means to be a rider. Before we can truly appreciate the galactic wave, we must first understand the shore. We must understand the mindset of the human beings who, for millennia, stood upon this earth and gazed up at the heavens, armed with nothing but their own eyes and a profound, desperate need for meaning. The story of our real movement is not just one of astronomical discovery. It is the story of humanity's slow and reluctant acceptance of its own cosmic insignificance, a journey away from the comforting illusion of stability. Let's travel back, before the telescopes, before the equations, before even the written word. Imagine being an early human on the plains of Africa or in the caves of Europe. The world is a place of immediate, tangible threats. Predators lurk in the shadows. The changing seasons dictate the availability of food, and the line between survival and extinction is razor thin. In this world, there are only two constants: the solid, unmoving ground beneath your feet and the vast, swirling chaos of the sky above. The sky was the original television, the first source of both wonder and terror. It delivered the life-giving warmth of the sun and the bone-chilling cold of the night. It brought the gentle rains that nourished the land and the violent storms that could destroy everything. Above all, it was unpredictable. Or was it? The single greatest intellectual leap in human history was the discovery of patterns in that chaos. It was the realization that the sun's daily journey was not random, that the moon waxed and waned with a predictable rhythm, that certain groups of stars, the constellations, appeared in the same place in the sky at the same time each year, heralding the coming of winter or the start of the spring thaw. This was not science in the way we think of it today. This was survival. This was the birth of the calendar. The sky became humanity's first and most important clock. The rule of E-die is critical here. Why did this matter? It mattered because knowing when to plant your crops was the difference between a bountiful harvest and mass starvation. Knowing when the great herds would migrate meant the difference between a successful hunt and a brutal winter. The sky was the ultimate agricultural almanac. The star Sirius rising just before the sun in ancient Egypt was not a point of idle curiosity. It was the sacred signal that the Nile was about to flood, bringing fertile silt and the promise of life for another year. For this reason, the sky became divine. The entities that moved within it were not mere balls of rock or gas. They were gods, angels, and spirits. They held power over human destiny because, in a very real sense, they did. Control over the calendar was control over society itself. Priests and shamans who could read the sky held immense power, for they were the intermediaries between the chaotic human world and the perceived divine order above. This fundamental need for predictability gave birth to the first great cosmological model, the geocentric universe. For over 1,500 years, the model conceived by the brilliant Greek astronomer Ptolemy was not just a theory. It was the unquestioned truth of reality. And it is crucial to understand why. The geocentric model, with the Earth placed at the unmoving center of the universe, is the most intuitive, common-sense model imaginable. It is based on our primary lived experience. The ground does not feel like it is moving. We do not feel the wind of our supposed 1,000 mile-per-hour rotation. When we look up, we see the sun, the moon, and the stars dutifully circling around us. Geocentrism was the ultimate projection of the human experience onto the cosmos. It was philosophically and emotionally satisfying. It affirmed our importance. It meant we were special, the central stage upon which the great divine drama unfolded. The universe was a tidy, nested set of celestial spheres, a series of perfect crystal shells with Earth at its heart, and humanity as its most precious jewel. This wasn't just an astronomical diagram. It was a map of meaning, a cosmic architecture that gave everyone and everything its proper place. To challenge this model was not to question a scientific fact. It was to question the very meaning of human existence. It was to commit heresy. Then came the Copernican Revolution, a moment we rightly celebrate as a turning point in human thought. Nicolaus Copernicus, Johannes Kepler, and Galileo Galilei courageously dismantled the geocentric machine and placed the sun at the center. This was a seismic shift, a profound act of intellectual humility that demoted humanity from the center of the universe to just another planet. But here is the crucial point we often miss. While the revolution changed the center of the solar system, it did not change the underlying concept of the solar system. The model was still a flat, clockwork mechanism. The sun was now the central anchor, but it was still an anchor static, unmoving, the great, stable center around which everything else predictably revolved. The planets were still understood to be on fixed, repeatable loops. We had moved from one merry-go-round to another. The psychological need for a fixed point, a stable home, was so strong that even these revolutionary thinkers did not, and perhaps could not, take the next logical step. The universe was still a place of perfect, eternal repetition. The idea of the entire system, the sun included, Being on a one-way voyage through open space was a leap too far, a concept without evidence and without a theoretical framework to support it. The ancient fear of a chaotic, untethered existence remained, now hidden behind the new, more elegant mathematics of a heliocentric clock. The final nail in the coffin of a dynamic universe, for a time, was the work of Isaac Newton. With his universal law of gravitation, Newton provided the definitive mathematical proof for the clockwork solar system. His equations were so powerful, so elegant, so breathtakingly accurate, that they seemed to be the final word from God himself. They could predict the motion of the planets, the timing of eclipses, and the return of comets with astonishing precision. The universe, it seemed, was a grand deterministic machine, a cosmic clock set in motion at the beginning of time, ticking away according to knowable, unchangeable laws. This Newtonian worldview dominated science for over 2 centuries. It gave humanity a sense of intellectual mastery over the cosmos. We had deciphered the Maker's instructions. This mechanical perfection was the ultimate fulfillment of that ancient human desire for order and predictability. We had finally, it seemed, tamed chaos. But this very success blinded us. The beautiful precision of the Newtonian model reinforced the image of a stable, isolated system. It described the internal workings of the clock perfectly, but it said nothing about where the clock itself was going. We became so focused on the intricate movements of the gears within our solar system that we failed to notice that the entire apparatus was strapped to the deck of a ship sailing on an uncharted ocean. The context for our existence, the galactic wave, remained utterly invisible, just beyond the edge of our meticulously drawn, but tragically incomplete, map. Our search for stability had been so successful, it had created the greatest illusion of all, that we were standing still. For centuries, the story we told ourselves, the one detailed in Phase 1, was of a stable, clockwork solar system. It was a comforting story, backed by the authority of Newton and the evidence of our own senses. But the universe is a subtle storyteller, and it leaves clues for those patient enough to look. The investigation that would ultimately shatter our illusion of stillness was not a single, dramatic event, but a slow, methodical gathering of evidence. A cosmic detective story that unfolded over 250 years. The clues were written in the faint, ancient light of the stars themselves. The first clue, the one that gently tugged at the first thread of the old tapestry, concerned the very definition of cosmic permanence, the fixed stars. Since antiquity, the constellations had been the ultimate anchor of reality. While the sun, moon, and planets wandered, the patterns of Orion, the Big Dipper, and the Southern Cross were eternal and unchanging. They were the fixed backdrop against which all celestial motion was measured. Or so we thought. The first whisper of doubt came from a familiar name, Edmund Halley. In 1718, while meticulously comparing the star charts of his day with the ancient catalogs compiled by the Greek astronomer Hipparchus some 1,800 years earlier, Halley noticed something deeply unsettling. The positions of a few bright stars, notably Sirius, Arcturus, and Aldebaran, were off. They weren't in the exact same spot the Greeks had recorded. The discrepancy was tiny, measurable only in arc minutes, but it was undeniable. These stars had moved. This phenomenon became known as proper motion, and its discovery was the astronomical equivalent of watching a mountain on the horizon and realizing, over the course of your life, that it has drifted a few feet to the left. It was a paradigm-shattering idea. The supposedly fixed, eternal stars were themselves adrift in the cosmic ocean. The implications were staggering. If the stars were moving, what was truly fixed? What was the ultimate frame of reference for the universe? And, the most unnerving question of all, if they were moving, were we? The discovery of proper motion opened a floodgate. Astronomers across Europe began the monumental task of charting the subtle movements of thousands of stars. At first, their motions appeared random, like a chaotic swarm of cosmic bees. But one astronomer, the brilliant William Herschel, suspected there was a hidden pattern. Herschel, who had famously discovered the planet Uranus, reasoned that if our sun was also a star, and if it was also moving through this swarm, its motion should create a detectable perspective effect among the other stars. This is the second crucial clue. Think of it this way, using one of the most effective analogies in science. Imagine you are driving a car through a dense forest at night. As you look forward, the trees directly ahead of you seem to open up, moving apart from a central point. As you look in your rear-view mirror, the trees you've passed seem to converge and close in behind you. Herschel applied this exact logic to the sky. He spent years analyzing the proper motions of numerous stars, and in 1783, he announced his findings. He had found a systematic pattern. In one region of the sky, in the direction of the constellation Hercules, the stars did indeed seem to be drifting apart. In the opposite direction of the sky, they seemed to be bunching together. The conclusion was inescapable. The sun, and our entire solar system with it, was moving towards that point in Hercules. He called it the solar apex. For the first time in human history, we had a destination. We were not aimlessly adrift. Our spaceship had a heading. This was no longer speculation. It was a geometric certainty, a conclusion drawn from the collective dance of the stars themselves. The comforting notion of a static, central sun was dead. Our star was a voyager, and we were its passengers. Herschel gave us a direction, but he couldn't give us a speed. Proper motion only measures the angular, or sideways, movement of a star across our line of sight. It tells us nothing about its movement towards or away from us. To find that missing piece of the puzzle, our true velocity through space, required a new tool, a new way of reading starlight. This is our third celestial clue, the Doppler effect. We are all familiar with this phenomenon in sound. When an ambulance approaches, its siren has a higher pitch. As it moves away, the pitch drops. The sound waves are compressed as the source approaches and stretched as it recedes. In the 19th century, scientists realized that light, as a wave, behaves in precisely the same way. Light from a star moving towards Earth is compressed, shifting its spectrum towards the blue end. This is called blue shift. Light from a star moving away is stretched, shifting its spectrum towards the red and the red shift. By capturing the light from a star and passing it through a prism, astronomers could see the dark absorption lines of its chemical elements. By measuring the tiny shift in these lines compared to their known positions, they could calculate the star's radial velocity, its speed directly towards or away from us, with incredible accuracy. This was the final key. By combining a star's proper motion, its sideways speed, with its radial velocity, its forward or backward speed, we could use simple trigonometry to calculate its true three-dimensional velocity through space. And when this technique was applied to the stars around us, it not only confirmed Herschel's solar apex with stunning precision, but also gave us the number we were looking for. Our solar system is hurtling through our local stellar neighborhood at roughly 43,000 miles per hour, or about 20 kilometers per second. Our ship now had a speed to go with its direction, but this entire investigation was taking place within our local neighborhood. We understood our motion relative to the stars nearby, but we still had no concept of the larger structure we were a part of. What was the city in which our stellar neighborhood was located? The fourth, and perhaps most profound, clue came from understanding the true nature of the Milky Way. For most of history, it was just a faint, milky band of light across the night sky. In the early 20th century, astronomers like Harlow Shapley used pulsating stars, called Cepheid variables, to measure vast distances. He mapped the locations of giant ancient star clusters called globular clusters and found that they were centered on a point thousands of light years away in the direction of Sagittarius. That, he correctly deduced, was the true center of the galaxy. Our sun was not at the center. It was a forgotten speck in the galactic suburbs, 2/3 of the way out from the core. This was an even greater demotion than the Copernican revolution. We weren't even in a nice part of town. Then, Edwin Hubble, using the same techniques, proved that the faint spiral nebulae were not clouds within our own galaxy, but were, In fact, entire other galaxies, island universes millions of light years away. The scale of the universe exploded in our minds. Our Milky Way was just one of billions of galaxies. Our journey was not just through a local cluster of stars, but through a colossal spinning disk of 100 billion suns. We now knew the shape of our galaxy and our place within it. But how do we map the grand currents, the spiral arms themselves, the wave of our tidal? The final clue could not be seen with our eyes. Most of our galaxy is hidden from us in visible light, obscured by vast clouds of interstellar dust. The key came after World War II with the birth of radio astronomy. The Dutch astronomer Jan Oort and others realized that neutral hydrogen gas, the most abundant substance in the galaxy, emits a faint but constant radio signal at a specific wavelength of 21 centimeters. This radio wave passes straight through the obscuring dust clouds as if they weren't there. It was like having galactic X-ray vision. By pointing radio telescopes to different parts of the sky and measuring the Doppler shift of this 21-centimeter line, astronomers could finally map the grand structure of our home galaxy. They could see the majestic, sweeping spiral arms. They could measure the galaxy's rotation, and they could precisely calculate our sun's orbit within it. The results were mind-boggling. Our entire local neighborhood of stars, including our sun, is orbiting the galactic center at that staggering speed we mentioned earlier, around 450,000 miles per hour, 720,000 kilometers per hour. This is the grand motion, the big one. We are riding the Orion Spur, a minor arm of the galaxy, on a majestic 230 million year journey around the galactic core. The celestial clues, gathered over 2.5 centuries, had painted a complete picture. The fixed stars that moved, the perspective shift of our solar journey, the redshift in the starlight, the map of our galactic home, and the radio waves from its hidden heart, all pointed to one inescapable conclusion. We are not just travelers. We are galactic voyagers. We stand now at a precipice. Behind us lies the long road of human history, a story defined by our terrestrial context, our desperate search for a fixed point, a stable anchor in a seemingly chaotic universe. Before us lie the celestial clues, the cold, hard evidence gathered over centuries, which tells an undeniable story of universal, relentless motion. For millennia, these two narratives ran in parallel, unable to touch. One was a story of human hope and fear, the other, a story of gravitational vectors and stellar spectroscopy. The eureka moment, the thesis of our entire investigation, arrives when we finally dare to weave these two stories together. It is the moment we stop looking at the universe from a purely human-centric perspective and instead accept the perspective the universe has been offering us all along. It is the moment we realize that the comforting clockwork model of our solar system is not just incomplete. It is a fundamental misinterpretation of the very nature of our existence. The connection between our terrestrial need for stability and the celestial fact of motion is one of opposition. One is the dream, the other is the reality, and our thesis is the bridge between them. Let's begin by performing the final demolition of the old model. The image of planets on flat, elliptical tracks around a stationary sun is so powerful, so deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness, that we must understand precisely why it is wrong before we can fully embrace the new paradigm. The flat model is a lie of perspective. It is what you would see if you could shrink the entire three-dimensional, moving solar system and project its shadow onto a two-dimensional wall. It correctly describes the relative positions of the planets to the sun, which is why it's so useful for predicting eclipses or planning space missions within the solar system. But it completely ignores the motion of the entire system through space and time. It's an accurate floor plan of a single train car, but it tells you nothing about the fact that the train is traveling at 1,000 miles an hour across a continent. The regra dianalogia is essential here. Clinging to the flat model is like insisting that a spinning top is not moving forward, simply because it is rotating. We have been so mesmerized by the spin Earth's annual orbit that we have failed to see its simultaneous forward momentum. The truth is that these two motions are happening at the same time. And when you combine a forward motion with a rotational motion, you do not get a flat circle. You get a helix. You get a vortex. This is the heart of our thesis, the foundation of our new map. Let's build it, piece by piece. First, take the sun. As we established from the celestial clues, the sun is not a fixed anchor. It is a star, blazing a trail through the local stellar medium at roughly 43,000 miles per hour, heading in the direction of the constellation Hercules. This is our primary vector, the forward thrust of our entire system. Now, take the Earth. It is in orbit around the sun, moving at an even faster speed of about 67,000 miles per hour. Crucially, the plane of Earth's orbit, the ecliptic, is tilted at about a 60-degree angle to the direction of the sun's galactic travel. So we have two powerful motions, the sun pulling us forward and our own orbital velocity slinging us around it. Now, connect them. Imagine the sun as the tip of a cosmic pen, drawing a line across the fabric of space. The Earth, held by the sun's gravity, cannot escape, but its own orbital momentum forces it to circle that moving tip. The resulting path is not a circle drawn on a page, but the beautiful three-dimensional shape of a spring, a corkscrew, a strand of DNA. As the sun moves forward, the Earth spirals around its path. This helical shape is the absolute, undeniable reality of our planet's journey through the cosmos. Every year, we complete one loop of the spiral, but the loop itself is billions of miles away from the previous one. We are forever moving forward, spiraling into new, uncharted regions of the galaxy. Let's put some scale to this magnificent structure. In the 365 days it takes for the Earth to complete one orbit around the sun, a journey of roughly 584 million miles. The sun itself has dragged us a staggering 13.5 billion miles through the galaxy. This means that our helical path is incredibly stretched out. It is not a tightly wound spring, but a vast, sweeping spiral with an almost imperceptible curve. The distance between each annual loop is about 23,000 times greater than the diameter of the loop itself. This is why we never, ever come back to the same place. Every birthday, every new year, you are on a different loop of the helix, billions of miles from where you were the year before. Our entire lives, and the whole of human history, have been painted onto a tiny segment of this impossibly long, spiraling ribbon of spacetime. This helical dance is the core thesis, the real movement that the title promises. We are not on a carousel. We are on a cosmic roller coaster, and its track is a spiral of immense proportions. But this helix is only the first part of the story. A helix must move through something. This is where we zoom out and connect our thesis to the grander galactic context, the wave. As radio astronomy revealed, our galaxy is a colossal spinning pinwheel, and its arms are density waves, cosmic ripples of concentrated gas, dust, and star formation. Our sun's path, the central axis of our helical journey, is not a straight line, but is itself a vast, curved trajectory as we complete our 230 million year orbit around the galactic center. We are currently located within the Orion Cygnus arm, or Orion spur. Therefore, our entire solar system's helical vortex is, at this very moment, surfing this galactic wave. The analogy is now complete. The sun is the surfboard, blazing a trail. The planets are like dolphins, gracefully spiraling around the board as it moves. And the medium everything is moving through is the density wave of the spiral arm, a river of stars and nebulae. But the motion is even more complex than that. Our solar system does not remain perfectly within the flat plane of the galactic disk. As we orbit the center, we are also oscillating, like a horse on a carousel, bobbing up and down through the galactic plane. We pass through the dense, star-filled midplane roughly every 30 to 35 million years. Right now, we are just slightly above it and moving further away before gravity pulls us back down again. So here is our final, complete thesis, the eureka moment in a single breathtaking statement. The real movement of Earth is a multi-layered, dynamic dance. We are passengers on a planet that traces a vast, stretched-out helical path. This helix is formed by our orbit around the Sun, combined with the Sun's own rapid motion towards the solar apex. This entire helical system is currently surfing a cosmic density wave known as the Orion Arm, as it follows a grand 230 million year orbit around the supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way. And this grand orbit is not flat. It includes a gentle oscillation, a bobbing motion that carries us up and down through the galactic plane over tens of millions of years. This is it. This is the real map. It is not the simple, flat, clockwork machine born of our terrestrial need for stability. It is a dynamic, complex, and achingly beautiful piece of cosmic choreography. The connection is made. The old story was about finding a fixed place. The new story, our thesis, is about embracing a glorious journey. We have traded the comfort of a fixed address for the sublime reality of a cosmic voyage. We thought we were sitting in a quiet harbor, but the truth is, we've been sailing the high seas of the galaxy all along. We have arrived. We have followed the clues. We have connected the terrestrial need to the celestial truth, and we have formulated a new and profound thesis of our existence. We have visualized our solar system as a helical vortex, surfing a majestic density wave through the Milky Way. But knowledge without consequence is nearly trivia. This grand cosmic revelation is not just an interesting astronomical fact to be filed away. It is a paradigm shift so fundamental that it should tremble the very foundations of how we perceive ourselves, our history, and our future. This is the ultimate "so what?" moment. The impact of this knowledge is not written in the stars, but within us. It is a psychological, philosophical, and perhaps even biological reawakening. The legacy of this discovery is a complete redefinition of what it means to be a human being, alive and aware, on the cosmic sea. First, let's consider the psychological impact. For all of human history, our cultures, mythologies, and even our sciences have been built upon the concept of cycles of return. The cycle of the seasons, the cycle of the moon, the cycle of the sun rising and setting. The idea of the eternal return is one of the oldest philosophical concepts, the notion that we are on a great wheel and that all things will recur. Our old flat model of the solar system was the ultimate expression of this. Every year, the Earth returns to the same point, a cosmic reset button. It created a deep-seated psychological sense of stability, of home. The helical model shatters this illusion completely and irrevocably. There is no return. There are no true cycles, only spirals. Every single moment of your life is spent in a region of space you have never been in before and will never visit again. This is not a subtle distinction. It is everything. It transforms time from a cyclical clock into a measure of distance traveled. Think of your own life. It is not a circle, but a unique, unrepeatable, spiraling trajectory through space-time. Every breath you take, every decision you make, happens at a new coordinate in the galaxy. This imbues every moment with an almost terrifying preciousness. There is no going back to the way things were, not just metaphorically, but physically. This understanding forces us to be present, to recognize the absolute singularity of our own existence. We are not tenants in a fixed house. We are voyagers on a one-way trip. The psychological legacy is the death of stasis and the birth of a profound appreciation for the relentless, forward-flowing river of reality. This new perspective completely reframes our understanding of history. We tend to view the past as something that happened here, just in a different time. The Roman Empire rose and fell here. The dinosaurs roamed the earth here. But where is here? The helical model reveals that here is a constantly moving target. When the dinosaurs looked up at the moon 66 million years ago, a mere moment before their extinction, the entire solar system was on the other side of the galaxy. Our current galactic coordinates and the coordinates of the late Cretaceous period are separated by a gulf of space so vast it is functionally unimaginable. The world of the dinosaurs is not just a different time. It is a different place, a different galactic environment. When the first pyramids were being built in Egypt, the solar system was trillions of miles away from its current location. This adds a profound layer of separation and grandeur to the past. History is no longer a collection of events that happened on a static stage. It is the captain's log of a generational starship, with each entry recorded at a different point in a vast, uncharted ocean. This understanding should inspire a new kind of reverence for the past. Every archaeological artifact, every ancient text, is a message from a distant shore, a souvenir from a place in the cosmos that we can never revisit. The legacy is a new temporality, where time and space are inextricably linked in the grand narrative of our galactic migration. But perhaps the most startling impact of our journey is not just philosophical, but physical. Could our voyage through the galactic wave have tangible consequences for life on Earth? This is where we enter the fascinating realm of speculative, yet scientifically grounded theory. Let's revisit the image of our solar system bobbing up and down through the galactic plane. Our galaxy is not a uniform disk. Its mid-plane is the most crowded, densest region, thick with stars, gas, and cosmic dust. Our Sun and its planets pass through this dense plane roughly every 30 to 35 million years. Some scientists, like the physicist Lisa Randall, have proposed a stunning hypothesis that these crossings could be linked to mass extinctions on Earth. The theory suggests that as we pass through the dense mid-plane, the increased gravitational pull from nearby matter could perturb the Oort cloud, the vast, icy shell of comets at the far edge of our solar system. This could send a shower of comets careening into the inner solar system, dramatically increasing the chances of a catastrophic impact. Is it a coincidence that the geological record shows mass extinctions seem to occur on a roughly 30 million year cycle? Is it possible that the rhythm of life and death on Earth is set, in part, by the rhythm of our own galactic oscillation? This idea, that the very course of evolution, the rise and fall of the dinosaurs, the emergence of mammals, could be directly influenced by our galactic zip code, is one of the most profound "so what" questions in all of science. Furthermore, this concept of a galactic climate extends to our journey through the spiral arms themselves. The arms, as density waves, are the galaxy's stellar nurseries. They are regions of intense star formation, which means they are also home to many more massive, short-lived stars that end their lives in spectacular supernova explosions. As we surf this wave, our solar system is periodically exposed to higher levels of cosmic rays and radiation from these nearby cataclysms. Could these fluctuations in the galactic environment have acted as an engine of evolution? Could periodic bursts of radiation have increased mutation rates, driving evolutionary innovation and diversification? It is a tantalizing possibility. It suggests that our DNA is not just a record of our terrestrial history, but may also contain a coded diary of our journey through the galaxy. The legacy here is a radical new connection between the cosmos and life. We are not separate from the universe, looking in. We are a product of it, shaped by the very currents of the galactic river we are traveling on. The environment is not just our atmosphere or our oceans. It is the spiral arm, the galactic plane, the very fabric of the Milky Way. Ultimately, the cumulative impact of this knowledge is the forging of a new cosmic identity. It is the final and most important legacy. When we look up at the night sky, we should no longer feel like static observers looking out at a distant, separate realm. We should feel a sense of kinship, of participation. We are not just in the universe, we are moving with it. The ancient human need for a fixed point, which we explored in Phase 1, must finally be relinquished. But we do not replace it with a terrifying sense of being lost and adrift. Instead, we replace it with the empowering identity of a voyager. We are all, at this very moment, crew members on a planetary vessel. This perspective has the power to dissolve our petty terrestrial conflicts and unite us in a shared destiny. We are all riding the same wave on the same ship, through the same cosmic ocean. This realization fosters a profound sense of responsibility for our vessel, the Earth. It is not a disposable resource. It is our generational ark, the only one we have for this leg of an impossibly long journey. The legacy, therefore, is a call to action. It is a call to see our planet not as a collection of separate territories, but as a single unified craft. It is a call to think on longer geological and even galactic timescales. It is a call to embrace our role as the conscious, self-aware navigators of this incredible voyage. This is the climax of our story. The real movement is not just about physics. It is about perspective. It is the key that unlocks the door from being a frightened creature on a stable world to becoming a proud and conscious traveler on a galactic sea. Our journey is now coming to a close. We began this investigation with a simple, almost childlike question born from a title. What is the real movement of the Earth? To answer it, we had to become detectives, historians, and philosophers. We embarked on a voyage that took us from the ancient human psyche to the far-flung edges of the Milky Way. We began by traveling back in time, into our own terrestrial context, to understand a fundamental truth not of physics, but of human nature. Our profound instinctual need for a fixed point, for stability, for a home that does not move. We saw how this need created our first maps of the cosmos, beautiful, intricate, and comforting models that placed us at the center of a predictable, clockwork universe. It was a story we told ourselves for millennia, because the alternative was simply too vast and too frightening to comprehend. But the universe does not bend to our psychological needs. So our investigation turned outward to the celestial clues. We followed a trail of evidence scattered across 3 centuries of tireless observation. We learned to read the subtle confessions in the starlight, the proper motion that proved the fixed stars were not fixed at all, the telltale perspective shift that gave our sun a heading, and the Doppler-shifted spectra that gave it a speed. We zoomed out to see the true scale of our galactic home, and then used the invisible light of radio waves to map the majestic, flowing currents within it, the great spiral arms. With the evidence in hand, we reached the heart of our investigation, the connection and the thesis. This was our eureka moment, the point where the old map was burned and the new one was drawn. We combined the forward motion of our sun with the orbital motion of our Earth and revealed the sublime, hidden truth. Our planet travels not in a flat circle, but in a magnificent, ever-advancing helix. We then placed this helical path into its grander context, realizing that our entire solar system is surfing a cosmic density wave, the Orion arm of our galaxy, a 230 million year orbit around its core, all while gently bobbing up and down through the galactic plane. The simple, comforting clock was gone, replaced by a piece of choreography so complex and so beautiful it could break your heart. And finally, we confronted the climax of our search, the impact and the legacy of this new reality. We saw that this knowledge is not mere trivia. It is transformational. It shatters our illusion of cyclical return, reframes our entire history as a one-way voyage, connects the fate of life on Earth to our changing galactic environment, and forges for us a new identity, not as static inhabitants, but as conscious cosmic voyagers. So now, we stand at the end, having followed the evidence to its logical, breathtaking conclusion. What do we do with this knowledge? How does it change us in this very moment? It asks us to perform one final, profound act of imagination. It asks us to feel it. The next time you're outside on a clear night, away from the glare of city lights, and you look up at the star-dusted arch of the Milky Way, I want you to try to see it in a new light. Do not see it as a static, painted backdrop. See it for what it is. You are not looking at it. You are looking through it. You are inside it. That faint, milky river of light is the very wave we have been talking about. It is the concentration of stars, gas, and dust whose gravitational current is guiding our solar system on its immense journey. Feel the ground beneath your feet, not as a solid, unmoving foundation, but as the deck of your spaceship. And that ship is moving. Right now, as you stand there, you, your family, your home, your entire world are hurtling through the cosmos at a speed your mind cannot truly grasp, spiraling into a region of space that no human has ever seen before. The silence of the night is an illusion. It is filled with the roar of a billion suns and the rush of the galactic wind. The stillness you feel is the shared momentum of a vessel on a perfectly smooth sea. This is the ultimate legacy of our investigation. It is a new relationship with the cosmos, the ancient fear of a chaotic, untethered universe that drove our ancestors to invent gods and geocentrism can finally be put to rest. But it is not replaced by the cold mechanical certainty of a Newtonian clock. It is replaced by a sense of profound, dynamic connection. We are not lost in the cosmos. We are a part of its grandest process. The same gravitational waves that shape the spiral arms are the ones that bind the atoms in your body. The stardust forged in the supernova we pass on our journey is the very stardust from which our planet and we ourselves are made. The journey is not something happening to us. The journey is us. We are the consciousness of this particular region of the galaxy, a way for the universe to look back and marvel at its own incredible, evolving beauty. Our quest for knowledge, our relentless curiosity, is the universe itself becoming self-aware. We began this journey by seeking the truth about our movement through the stars, and we found it. But in doing so, we found something far more important. We found a new story to tell ourselves. It is a story of migration, of dynamism, and of an unbreakable bond between our tiny, fragile world and the vast, living galaxy it belongs to. We sought a fixed anchor and found a cosmic current. We looked for a final destination and discovered that the destination is the journey itself. This is the Haranka das Estrelas, the inheritance of the stars, not a collection of facts, but a perspective, a sense of wonder that, once felt, can never be lost. We are the children of the cosmos, awake and aware for one brief, glorious moment on the ever-advancing crest of a galactic wave.